When you hear the phrase religious law, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's this image of a massive, dusty rule book, right? Just a long list of things you're not supposed to do designed to trip you up. But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're jumping into a text that flips that idea on its head and asks a really powerful question. Is the law meant to condemn people, or is it something else entirely? Let's get into it. Okay, so our journey begins with a single number, and that number is 613. Forget the Ten Commandments for a second. We're talking about 613 distinct rules that the ancient Israelites were given. That's a huge, incredibly detailed framework for life. You can just imagine how overwhelming that must have felt. And if we break that number down, it gets even more fascinating. So of those 613 rules, you've got 365 don'ts. Think about that. One for every single day of the year. A daily reminder of what not to do. And on the flip side, you have 248 do's, all the positive things you're supposed to be doing. It really paints a picture of just how detailed and, well, all-encompassing this system was.
All right, so you've got all these rules. The big question is, why? What's the point of it all? And this is where things get really interesting, because our source material says there are basically two completely different ways to look at this whole system.
And when I say different, I mean night and day different. On one hand, you can misunderstand the law, and when you do, it becomes this weapon, right? A tool to condemn people. The source says it ends up serving evil and, well, leading to death. But if you truly understand it, the whole thing transforms. It becomes a law of love, something that serves God and leads to life. It's a huge, huge difference. And the text we're looking at really hammers this point home. It says, and I quote, "Misunderstanding and understanding the law are as different as heaven and earth." Wow. So we're not talking about a small disagreement here. This is a massive cosmic level difference in perspective, with everything on the line. So how do you bridge a gap that's as wide as heaven and earth? Well, this is where the source brings in Jesus. But here's the twist. He doesn't show up to just toss out all those rules, not at all. He comes to fulfill them, to show everyone what they were really about all along. Okay, but how do you even begin to make sense of 613 commandments? The source tells us you start by going back to the basics, the 10 commandments. And even those 10 can be simplified. It's pretty amazing, actually. The first 4, they're really all about loving God, and the other 6, they're all about loving your neighbor. Suddenly, it all starts to click into place. So you see where this is going, right? Whether you're talking about all 613 rules or just the 10, the source argues they all point to one thing, just one. And that one thing is love. That's the core principle, the engine behind the whole entire system. And that brings us right back to this idea of fulfilling the law. So what does that actually mean? Well, according to this text, it's not about being a perfect rule follower, like you're just checking off boxes on a to-do list. No, it's about getting to the heart of the law's intention. It's about shifting your entire focus from condemnation to compassion and actually practicing it as a law of love. Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this law of love actually work when the rubber meets the road? Well, get ready, because the source gives us this incredibly dramatic story, a real-life test where these two totally opposite views of the law go head-to-head. So here's the setup. A woman is caught red-handed in adultery. There's no debate, no ambiguity. According to the letter of the law, she is absolutely 100% guilty. And the punishment for that? It was brutal. Death by stoning. The source says the religious leaders of the day, who saw the law as that rigid rule book for condemnation, they drag her out and demand justice. For them, it's black and white. You break the rule, you pay the price. Period. So this is it. This is the moment of truth. You have a clear crime and a clear punishment. So, what happens now? How does a law of love respond to this? What does love do in the face of judgment? And the answer, according to the source, is just powerful. Instead of picking up a stone, Jesus applies the law of love. He forgives her. He saves her life. And in that one moment, he shows what the law was truly for all along, to save people, not to destroy them. So, what's the big takeaway here? What are we supposed to do with this story? Well, the source says this isn't just some nice idea to think about. It's a call of action. It's the very definition of the gospel.
And the gospel, according to this text, isn't something you just believe in your head. It's something you do. It's about following that incredible example. It means you actually practice the law as a law of love. The whole point becomes about saving people, not judging them. And that brings us to the end with one final thought to leave you with. We've seen these two paths, the law as a weapon for condemnation or the law as an expression of love. The source makes a powerful case for love. So the real question for all of us is, what does it actually look like to live out that law of love in our own lives, right here, right now?